Supervision in action, where compliance is proven. As we continue through Chapter 5, we now arrive at one of the most critical operational duties of a designated broker, reviewing transaction documents. While earlier sections focused on who can act and how the brokerage is structured, this section focuses on what the broker must actually do on a daily basis to ensure compliance. Broker review is where supervision becomes measurable. It is not enough to have policies, systems, or licensed agents. Those elements must be actively monitored through document review. Under ARS, paragraph 32-2-151-01G, the designated broker is required to review all transaction documents within a specific time frame. This requirement is one of the most commonly audited areas by ADRI and one of the most frequent sources of violations. This section builds directly on Section 5.2. Once we confirm that licensed agents are operating properly, the next step is ensuring that their work, the contracts and documents they produce, is reviewed and compliant. The 10-day review rule, a non-negotiable timeline. Arizona law requires that brokers review transaction documents within 10 business days after execution. This includes purchase contracts, listing agreements, lease agreements, addenda, and amendments. Any document related to a real estate transaction. The purpose of the 10-day rule is to ensure timely supervision. If errors exist in a transaction, they must be identified early, before they create legal or financial consequences. For example, an agent in Gilbert executes a purchase contract on June 1st. The broker must review that contract no later than 10 business days from that date. Waiting until closing or after closing is not compliant. A common misconception is that review can occur at any time before file closure. This is incorrect. The law specifically requires timely review, not delayed oversight. Failure to meet the 10-day requirement is a direct violation of ARS paragraph 32-2151.001G and may also trigger disciplinary action under ARS paragraph 32-2153. What must be reviewed, more than just contracts? Broker review is not limited to the purchase contract. It applies to all documents that are part of the transaction. Key documents requiring review include listing agreements, ensuring proper terms and signatures, purchase contracts, accuracy, completeness, and compliance, leases, terms, disclosures, and execution, addenda, including compensation, solar, or contingency addenda, disclosures, such as SPDS and agency forms. For example, a broker in Chandler reviews a file and identifies that the seller compensation addendum does not match the buyer-broker agreement. Catching this within the 10-day window allows the issue to be corrected before closing. This is where broker expertise plays a critical role. Review is not just a checkbox. It is an evaluation of risk, compliance, and accuracy. This ties into AAC R428-1101, Exercise of Reasonable Care, which requires licensees to act competently and diligently. Electronic review logs, documenting the supervision. In today's digital environment, broker review is typically documented through electronic systems. These systems create a record of when documents were reviewed, what actions were taken, and whether corrections were made. An effective electronic review log should include date documents were uploaded, date of broker review notes, or required corrections, final approval or completion status. For example, a brokerage in Scottsdale uses a transaction management platform that logs upload date, June 1st, broker review, June 3rd, correction requested, June 3rd, correction completed, June 5th, final approval, June 6th. This type of documentation provides clear evidence of compliance. During an ADRI audit, the broker must be able to demonstrate not only that documents exist, but that they were reviewed within the required time frame. Without an electronic log, the broker may struggle to prove compliance, even if the review actually occurred. Real-world audit failure example, where it goes wrong. Consider a real-world scenario in Phoenix. A brokerage maintains all transaction files in a digital system. The broker assumes that files are being reviewed because the system is in place. However, there is no requirement for documented review and no tracking of review dates. During an ADRI audit, several issues are identified. Contracts were reviewed after closing. No documentation exists showing when review occurred. Some files were never reviewed at all. Corrections were not documented. The broker argues that the system was available and that agents were expected to comply. However, ADRI determines that supervision was not properly exercised. The result: violation of ARS Paragraph 32, 2151.01 G, for failure to review within 10 days, violation of AAC R4 28 1103 for lack of supervision, potential discipline under ARS. Paragraph 32, 2153. The key lesson: having a system is not enough. Supervision must be active, documented, and enforceable. Bringing it all together. Broker review is one of the clearest indicators of a compliant brokerage. It demonstrates that the broker is actively supervising transactions, identifying risks, and ensuring that agents are operating within the law. This section reinforces several critical principles. Review must occur within 10 business days. All transaction documents must be reviewed. Review must be documented. Supervision must be active, not assumed. When done correctly, broker review protects the client, the agent, and the brokerage. When done incorrectly, it becomes one of the fastest paths to disciplinary action. As we move into the next section, we will examine written policies and procedures, providing the structure that ensures broker review and supervision are consistently applied across the brokerage. Online discussion. Why is the 10-day review rule important? Answer: it ensures timely supervision so that errors and compliance issues are identified and corrected early in the transaction. What types of documents must a broker review? Answer: all transaction-related documents, including contracts, listings, leases, addenda, and disclosures. Why are electronic review logs important? Answer: they provide documented proof that supervision occurred within the required time frame, which is critical during an audit.